Christmas. Alrighty. Give me that. Oh, there. Yeah. Christmas season, Christmas goosebumps. Most of it sucks. Anyways, hello everybody. My name is Goosebumps for Dummies, and we're doing episode 6 review. I am actually pretty goddamn excited, because I think we all can objectively agree this is probably the fucking best episode. Maybe episode 4, maybe 10, maybe, I don't know, 8, but there are so many interesting episodes in this season that all share one thing that this episode does not have, and that is teen drama. Episode 6, there is barely any. This is just the backstory episode, and it's actually good. And we also get a big spotlight on Slappy. It's just fantastic for that reason. We're gonna get into the review now. I really have nothing to say. I just want to fly by this one because it's actually fire. Fair warning, I'm sick. So what is this episode about? We open up with Harold Biddle in Ravenrat's body, leading kids in the house. He sits them down and he starts explaining to them the backstory of Slappy. We cut to, I believe, 1925, nearly 100 years ago. And yeah, we see this magician who is fucking terrible and is very poor. After an act goes wrong, he goes back to the shop where he got his tricks at, and he buys a dummy. And the way, he didn't even know he was going to buy a dummy. For some reason, he heard a voice in the general direction of the dummy that was in his case. So he buys it. It was very, very cheap for obvious reasons. I mean, it's fucking Slappy. Who the fuck wants Slappy? Totally not me. And yeah, his wife is not, well, I'm assuming his wife is not impressed by it. He says it's going to make him a lot of money. He's going to make up a new act with him. But yeah, she's just not having it. So she leaves the room, to go take a bath while they still have hot water. Because, like I said, they're poor. He takes a look at Slappy after he sets him down on a table. And might I just add, holy shit, the design of Slappy is, top tier. It is top 3 for me, at least. It's better than the movies, so it is fantastic. He fumbles around in Slappy's shirt and finds the words, Karuma Riodona Lama Mal Nukarano, but of course, they always say I'm wrong, nobody ever says it correctly, besides a character later. Intro cut, and then we come back, and he's having a show with Slappy, and Slappy's alive, keep that in mind, no shit. And yeah, Slappy starts taking control after, everybody's like, oh yeah, this is terrible. He's doing terrible, because he sucks at controlism. Hey guys, I'm Alabama Goosebumps fan. Hey guys, I'm Slappy. That's like the shit he's doing. It's just terrible. Yeah, so it doesn't go very well until Slappy kicks in. And this is where he learns that Slappy is alive, and he has an interesting act. Flam de les coots is one of the words he said, so... Yeah, this is where he learned Slappy's British in this season, for this show, and I was flabbergasted. But I was also extremely happy about that, because I thought it was such a cool change, because I knew everything was going to be changed, and I knew Slappy was going to sound so weird. Unless they got the original 90s actor, or maybe Avery Jones, Jack Black, or someone who's done a Slappy voice before, this is going to be weird, and this was, out of there. I love it. It's so weird. He basically persuades the magician dude into letting him, work for him and, make him rich. It's a pretty easy bet. He wants to become rich. He wants to become famous. He wants to be successful. He loses his life. We cut to, 40 years later. It's a big time jump. And now this motherfucker is, he's having his usual show, but now he's backstage, and someone's discussing maybe trying a new act for once, because people are tired of Slappy. And then he turns him into a fucking dummy. Yeah, pretty crazy. They go home, him and Slappy, and a few guys bring in a large crate. And Slappy is talking about this crate. He's like, oh yeah, I've been hunting this thing now for years. What is it, a wooden girlfriend? The crate gets opened, and in the box is a giant coffin for a motherfucker named Kondu. Really weird. Slappy is like, okay, reach in the box, and then the motherfucker magician dude reaches in, he pulls out a note, and he starts reading what's on it. Then he sees a vision. A giant burning tower. Now, this is a very disappointing revelation by the end of the season, but it is interesting, and it's not that bad, but yeah, very, very peculiar if you have no idea where this is going. Anyways, the motherfucker magician man, he's like, yeah, no, I don't wanna do this. It is very dangerous. There's lots of people screaming on the tower, so he already knows this is not gonna be good, so he decides to defeat Slappy. He grabs Slappy and locks him in a trunk, and then he moves to Port Lawrence. I don't know why. Why Port Lawrence? But we really don't get an explanation. But now he's there. He has bought a big house, and he locked Slappy up in the walls. Literally inside of the walls. Slappy's just trapped there. Cut years down the line to 1993. Harold Biddle and his family are moving in. Harold is not too fond of this place because he's way more used to the big city. He also thinks everybody's gonna be an asshole here because everybody in its old school is an asshole. His parents are pretty neat characters, so his mom can be a bitch about his worm sometime. I really wanted to fucking, I don't know, grab a gun and shoot her. She was very annoying. Harold makes some friends, which are the actual parents of the kids of the show, you know, the people having the teen drama. Though soon after, he meets Slappy after he throws something at a wall after he's upset because he didn't go to a party because nobody's gonna date him or some shit. It's interesting. There is a bit of teen drama, but it's not as bad. He finds Slappy in the wall after breaking off a brick by accident. He scares his family a bit. He finds out his name is Slappy. It's very peculiar. Then he finds the magic words and brings him to life. Now, I don't know why you need to do this because he's already been alive. I don't really know why. Is there just a certain time period that Slappy will be awake? Because he just falls asleep every time somebody finds him. Anyways, Harold brings him to the talent show where we probably get the best scene in the entire show, where Slappy curses and says the word mem, you know, the British way. It's hilarious. Everybody loves Slappy and Harold's act, and he does it for a few months, and Slappy is slowly manipulating Harold. And I really like that. It was very solid. It explains why Biddle's such an asshole and a villain now, but there's also another reason. Because soon after, one of the girls, I think Nora, the young Nora, realizes that Harold's doll Slappy is alive. After another act, they all objectively agree that the whole squad here, all the parents of the kids in the modern day era, agree that, yeah, Slappy's alive and something needs to be done. So they go sneak into Harold Biddle's house one night. I don't think his parents are there. Oh, that's right, because they've been turned into fucking dummies. I'm not kidding. There seems to be a big trend in the show. I wonder if it'll carry over into later episodes. And I don't know. I highly doubt it. So yeah, and we get the scene that we saw at the beginning of the entire show. Only a few different shots. And we get to see all the parents, you know, they all realize what the fuck's going on after they, you know, burn the house down by accident because Harold's a fucking idiot. It's a very complex scene. Harold he goes in the basement to protect himself. They're banging on the door. He falls down the stairs. Something breaks, catches on fire. He burns to death in the basement. It's pretty tragic. They get Slappy, and yeah, Ben already knows he's alive. You know, Isaiah's dad, after Slappy said "fuck you, mate" or something like that. I can't recall. I haven't watched the episode in 2 weeks, but of course, you know, I have a good memory. So Slappy jumps up from the case and he starts screaming at him like it's gonna take a lot more than that to kill me. And they decide, you know, fuck this dummy. We can't burn him. We can't really do anything about him. We're just gonna hide him. And yeah, they're gonna hide him up in the mountains or something. And I don't really know where the fuck they hid him, but it wasn't really explained well. Episode 7 makes this very unclear about where they hid him. That's about it. That's the end of the story. Harold Biddle and Nathan Brat's body is just like, yeah, they're assholes. And the kids are like, no, they're not. Harold Biddle was evil. Kids were manipulated by Slappy. They didn't even mean to kill him. So Harold's like, fuck you, I'm Harold Biddle. And that's the end of the episode. Let's get to my thoughts or some shit. So what did I think of this episode? Well, there's absolutely no issues. I'm serious right now. I do not hate teen drama in shows, but this show has a seriously weird setup for teen drama. There's some weird plots, okay? And this episode has basically none of it. They have new characters, which are the younger versions of the parents. And I honestly don't hate them. Some people say that they're even better. I think someone said that. There was basically no issues. Slappy was fantastic. I really like him. Harold Biddle was in this episode. We kind of got to see more about who he really is, like, before he was evil and when he was evil. Harold Biddle's parents were revealed, so that's really cool. We got to know what happened to them and why they disappeared. I love the flashback scenes for some reason. There was so many flashbacks in this episode. This whole episode is flashbacks with basically, like, a cut every, 10 minutes to the kids, like, oh, wow, that's cool. Moving on, I really liked this episode, and I really liked how it was black and white and the way older flashbacks, you know, everything was black and white, even Slappy, so you didn't really know what his colors were. even though it's kind of obvious. It's usually the black, red, whites, and browns. Also, Suppy has a top hat, which is fucking awesome. I love that so much. Yeah, no issues with this episode, like, at all. I really enjoyed it. 10 out of 10. I can't even explain it more. There's just nothing wrong with this episode. Like, nothing. I'm serious. There's nothing wrong. So that's going to do it for this episode review. I hope you all agree with me. If not, tell me what you think about this episode. Do you think it was good? Do you think it was bad? Do you think it was amazing? Do you think it was god-awful? Probably because it's Slappy. I think that's a pretty controversial opinion, to actually think this guy's fucking fantastic or fucking terrible, because nobody really can agree on that. A lot of people hate him, a lot of people love him. So yeah, tell me what y'all think about this episode below, and I'll see you guys in the next one, which should be my Q&A video. Anyways, stay bumping, y'all, and shout out to Wimlet, I guess. Boy.